Before I get into the topic of today's video, I feel like I should explain what's going on, where I am. So I'm actually taking the next year off of school. I figured because I'm doing that, because I'm gonna be working freelance, gonna be making videos, editing for different people, and obviously making photos, I felt like I should get a little office space. So that's what this space is. That's where I am now. It's at 373 Broadway, which is in Manhattan. It's right across from what you might know as Casey Neistat's office. I'm really excited to see what happens over this next year or so with this space, how it develops, what it gets used for, and I think it'll be really cool for these videos. There will be a full studio tour and all that coming soon. But that being said, today's video is actually really exciting. So without further ado, I'm gonna show you the camera that's in my bag right now. Yo, I am so excited to show you what's in this bag right now. So Hasselblad hit me up and they said, yo, Willem, we're wondering if you're interested in trying out our top of the line camera. This is the Hasselblad H6D, which is actually a medium format digital camera. So it shoots 645 as a sensor, but in digital. So this thing comes with the 100 megapixel back, which if you know anything about digital photography, that's insane. I'm honestly nervous sitting here holding this camera because of how much it costs. This setup right here is about $32,000, which makes me really nervous, but they did show me around the camera at their office to teach me how to use it and everything. Honestly, this thing is super straightforward. It's very modular and works like any 645 autofocus camera, but then instead you just have a massive digital sensor at the back. They gave me the 80mm lens with it. It's a 2.8 and that's like a good standard focal length for 645 medium format. But Hasselblad also said, yo, Willem, we watch the videos, we see you shoot film. So they said, would you be interested in trying out our film back for the camera? And this thing is actually discontinued. This is from a much older generation of cameras. This is from their original H1D line. This is the H6D, and it's just a standard 120 film back that shoots 645 format. But the cool thing about it is that it mounts onto the new cameras and you can basically shoot this amazing autofocus camera with an old film back. This camera is obviously not mine. They said, do you want to shoot with this for a while, try it out, see how you like it? I said, of course, why would I not want to try this camera out? So that being said, I have this camera for the next couple days. I'm going to be taking it around, shooting with it, and I'm going to document it all. Hopefully I'll have this video and a whole review on it at some point later when I'm more familiar with it. But over the next 2 days or so, I'm just going to figure it out and get used to shooting with this thing, and then hopefully take on some more serious projects. So I'm going to put this film back on right now. The digital back releases with this little switch on the side. So it actually has this built-in Darkslide that you wind, which is really convenient. You don't have to pull it out and put it anywhere. It just twists up and out of the way of the film. That has an absolutely insane shutter sound. It feels so mechanical. One thing that I love that I just found out is that the battery is actually the camera grip, so you can't forget your batteries for this thing because it's the grip. So if you try to pick up the camera, it kind of feels wrong. That's a crazy Hasselblad design choice right there. That being said, over the next couple days, I'm gonna be shooting with this thing. I have a really cool shoot planned with a hip hop artist, but that might be for another video. That being said though, I'm gonna just take you guys behind the scenes while I kind of figure this thing out and take my first couple photos with it. I just got to New Jersey. I'm here for the day with the Hasselblad, which is currently in my bag right now. I'm gonna be driving around with a friend and it should just be a cool day of making photos with the Hasselblad. I'm really excited to get shooting with this camera. I brought the film back for it because I'm too scared to use the digital back right now. That thing is like 20K alone. I'll definitely be making some photos with that as well later on. But for now, I'm gonna meet up with my homie and we're gonna start driving around. Good. We just drove to our first spot. There's a beautiful greenhouse. We just loaded some film. I'm shooting Portra 160 because it's nice and sunny out, and I'm gonna rate it at 100 to get that shadow detail. We'll see how it goes. J-Mac over here has got the classic Hasselblad. Look at that. Real quick. So even though this camera has everything autofocus, everything, I find myself manually focusing it still and also manually exposing with my light meter. I think it's just what I'm used to, and because of that I just set the whole camera to manual. Still a fun time though. Yo, this camera feels absolutely insane. Like, I obviously haven't seen any photos of it, but just the way it feels and the way that it operates is crazy. And then the auto wind is so nice. This lens does feel a little bit tight for my liking. I use a 90mm on the RZ, but I don't know if it's the 6:4:5 aspect ratio or the focal length, but I wish it was just slightly wider. Sometimes I feel like I'm making photos that aren't necessarily for now. Like, these photos will mean something more in like 10, 20, 30 years. It's more about documenting. I feel like photos like this of ordinary things just get better with age. Okay, it's been a couple days since the photos that you saw, and I just thought I'd take the time to share some quick afterthoughts on the camera, what I liked about it, what I didn't. First of all, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it because it definitely helps out the videos. And I should start by saying that this is by far the best camera that I've ever used, and it should be, considering the price point of this thing. It's the most expensive new camera that you can go out and buy right now, so that says quite a lot. Although I do think this thing is special. I think it's for a very specific type of person. That person is obviously not me. Having the price tag that this camera has, I was kind of nervous. This is not for the type of work I do. I feel like this camera is made for the high-end fashion companies, the billboard photographers, and the people who really can make use of that 100 megapixel digital sensor. It's cool that they made this thing backwards compatible with film, but I think that if you're buying this camera, it has to be for that digital 100 megapixel sensor, because that's what makes this thing stand out. If you do want a camera of this format to shoot 6:4:5 medium format film on, there's a ton of cameras like the Pentax 6:4:5 and the Mamiya 6:4:5 that both have autofocus, both have auto exposure, and they shoot the exact same format. So if that's something you're interested in, then those are two cameras you might consider checking out. At the end of the day, film is film, and you're gonna get a similar looking photo with either of these two medium format cameras. But like I said, this camera was made for that digital back. As for the photos, I love the results that I got out of this camera. I think they fit well with my ongoing series of New Jersey images that you've seen if you've been following the channel. And I think there's definitely a couple images in here that I'd consider as finals for that project. I obviously did do a little bit of editing to my photos. This is not standard how Portra 400 comes out, but I do usually like to edit my film to give it a little bit more of a personal touch. I know a lot of people are against that, but that's not necessarily for me. I like my photos to look the way I imagine them to look when I shoot them. So that's why I do a little bit of editing. If you're curious, I will have a video coming out soon about how I edit my photography, and I'm pretty excited to make that one because I think there's a lot of cool things that you can do to enhance your film photos a little bit in the editing process. Like I said before, this camera isn't mine, it's Hasselblad's. They just let me borrow it for this video, so huge shout out to them. If you aren't already following me on Instagram, you can check it out down below for more of my work, and make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it. Also give my homie Jimmy a follow because he helped out with the filming, and he'll have some photos coming from the same day as well. That's it for now. Peace.